we missed last month because just a lot of scheduling stuff. And now we're back for episode 3 of Titanomachy Reveries. And yeah, last time. Oh, thank you all for the bits. Thank you so much. We've got so many friends in the chat, so much support. I appreciate it. Um, we last time we left off, it was a trek through the raw magic wilds. Our friends here, Cassis and Sun and Orion, uh, along with their friend El, were traveling through the raw magic wilds to find a mysterious door with runes all throughout it, as Orion actually made contact with the Titan itself, Adhumla. During their trek through the forest, their Titanite powered Archons stopped working, and their palimpsests, which absorbed raw magic to protect some of their friends, also disappeared. They found the source of the disappearance, which was a sorcerer slash wizard in the forest named Lux, who had developed a spell that gathers all the Titanite in the area to herself. They are now in the cottage of this sorcerer, and she's agreed to give them back the Titanite so they can finish their journey, but they have to do a favor for her, which is help her develop new spells. Let's do a little quick introductions of everyone again, since it's been a second, and your person's name, your name, and then also your character, what class you're playing, that sort of thing. We'll start with Brooke. We'll go with Brooke first.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll get it started. Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke. My character is Orion, and she is a warlock changeling. Had to remember. But yeah, she's got a connection to the Titan that we live on, and, kind of good at magic, but not as good as she should be for being a educated warlock. So it's kind of comical, I would say. But hey, getting better every day. Yeah.
All right. I am Robert. Well, I go by Robbie, though. So my character's name is Cassis. I'm a blue kobold, and I am an artificer. So I run around on my golem, or steel defender named Wah. Just love being in my workshop, doing all kinds of things with tinkering and being around my friends. So I have a strong relationship with the people we're playing with. We grew up together, and we go on vacations and get into misadventures with crabs, and I ruin all the food that we ever make. And yeah, that's that's a lot of my character.
Hi, my name is Sunmi. My character's name is Sun. They are I think we changed it to Dreamborn, a Dreamborn paladin. And I would say my character is very earnest, headstrong, maybe a little rambunctious. They are part of the Order of the Ancients on the island. They have a strong sense of justice and want to do the right thing, but they also have a sense of mischief and adventure.
Yeah, and this is Sunmi's first D&D campaign ever, so we're very excited to have them here with us. And yeah, so we've had some sessions. We even had a session we played my beach episode as part of the prep for the campaign. So they have some shared backstory of a vacation where stuff went wrong and they're trying to make parfaits. And yeah, so thank you everyone once again for coming out for the surprise stream. We're going to try to be more consistent with this in the future, but yeah, we descend back into the world of Aftermath, zooming in onto the Titan Adhumla that carries this city on its back. Our characters are all 17 years old. They're young kids who are trying to make their way in the world, and they find themselves in a cottage of Lux, the sorcerer, who has all sorts of weird magical gadgets and crystals abounding, and she has just said that she'll give you back the Titanite, but you need to help her develop some new spells. And she sort of says, all right, you can take some time to think about it. I'm going to go work on some stuff. You let me know when you've decided. You can discuss amongst yourselves. You're welcome to leave too, without the Titanite. I don't really care, but you can figure it out. You're adults, right? You're adults.
No,
No. What are you?
we are not adults.
What are you doing? It's none of my fucking business. She walks out, and it's just like out to like an outdoor work area with like lots of little vials and spell components and all sorts of little like wands and books and stuff, and has left you all to talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Should we just rob this lady? Get our Titanite back, or should we, play this little new spell game? I mean, I'm already terrible at spells. How am I supposed to come up with a new one?
Well, some of us aren't so inept, so I think we leverage this new relationship.
Fine. It's probably the smart thing to do.
Yeah, I think coming up with new spells sounds really fun. I think we should stick around and see.
All right. I'm down for it.
Yeah, so how do we even start?
Did
Did
she
she explain any of this to us? Do I just hit it with my wrench? Do I hit the Titanite and then it makes spells?
Hey, old Lady Lux. Oh, Lady Lux. Why does that sound
Lady
so?
Lux.
I'm not old. I'm just not your children, I guess. I'm just not a child.
Well, whatever age you are, okay. You want some new spells? We got some new spells for you.
All right.
How do you want it?
She conjures a stool out of the air, it drops to the ground. She sits down on it, Shark Tank style, and goes, all right, hit me.
Oh, okay. Shark Tank style. I like it. Who wants to go first?
Don't look at me.
So, in my pitch, what I'll be doing is trying to sell you on my robot, but more electricity around the robot, essentially. So here's Wah. I want, when I touch Wah, for it to electrocute me, because that's what happens when I'm in the workshop, but I want it on purpose for other people.
Yes, on purpose electrocution. It is one of the best kinds of electrocution.
Yeah.
I do quite like that. So how do you see this happening? Are you going to cloak the robot in electricity for the future, or are you going to try to like pop it off when something happens?
When something happens. So when someone touches it, then I don't want it, more like a security system. So you touch Wah, you give Wah the bad touch, gives you the bad touch back.
Touch.
All right. So if someone makes contact with it, they get shocked.
Yeah, the bad touch.
Bad touch, and they get bad touch back. That seems only fair, honestly.
Yes.
That seems very good. I like this idea. It'll take some time. This is kind of in line with a hellish rebuke spell. So we just have to transmute it to be electricity, and maybe we'll have it linger a little longer than the hellish rebuke, so that it stays electrically around it, so that you don't have to do it in response. You can just have it, set it on your robo, and then toss them into the fray. I like it.
So I can make. I'll make WoW really fast, jump high, and electrocute him, and he'll just zap everybody.
I do like this. This is very fun. This is like a little mini Titan. This is have him zipping around.
Oh my god! That's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Goes, well, Arhumla is more icy, but there's electric ones out there. That's absolutely can be done. She sort of like she gets off the stool, grabs like a book off the shelf. She grabs like just like copper shavings off the wall, like a little jar of copper shavings, and she's like carrying it in her arm, like in the hook of her arm. She goes and like pulls. It looks like it's like some sort of rope or like it's like a black cable out of the ground, and it just keeps going. She just pulls it, keeps going, and it's coming out of the ground somewhere. You have no idea where it's coming from, and she just walks you out way far back past the workshop area, so that you're just like in a field it's still cleared or whatever, but like she's like, all right, have at it. She just like gives you the supplies and just like as you work on this thing, and the cable keeps going, and you can see like as you touch it, it's got a little bit of a shock to it. So there's like a live wire with copper shavings and a book, and just like, all right, I'm gonna go back. She poofs back into the living room to hear the rest of the pitches. And what you'll be doing as we go through the next pitches is you're gonna make an Arcana check for this first 3-hour session of working on this spell.
I'm ready.
So go ahead and do that. I'm going to move on to she poofs back into the room on the stool. She goes, all right, who's next?
You can go next. Okay, so Shark Tank style. Have you ever been in a room with a bunch of enemies and you're like, these guys think that they are just too cool for school?
All the time.
Well,
just all the time.
All the time. What if you could, change their minds about that by heating them up? Something like a scorching spray or something. And so my idea is you go blammo, and fire comes out of your fingertips, attacks everyone nearby in some sort of radius, but it doesn't end there, because these guys, it's going to take some time for them to thaw out, so it'll last a couple turns, and if they don't want to get burnt again, then they have to come up with the right number through rolling. That's my idea.
Gotcha. She goes, right. Well, Fireball is already, that's an instant explosion. That's a good one. It's a classic. Love me some Fireball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can cast Fireball yet. She does like puts a little like magnifying glass down, little like power reader. It's it's under 9,000, but that's okay. You'll get there. And she goes, well, how are you with fire magic, by the way? Do you have any? Let me see what your ability is with fire, because that might hurt us here. If you're not good at fire magic, then
Yes, fire. Fire. So hold on. Just looking at some notes. Yes. Okay, so I have this, not sure if it's fire, but it's got the word blast in it. I can do Eldritch Blast.
She goes, think fast, and she throws something at you. What do?
I go, chapa!
All right, give me that attack roll.
Okay. New dice, by the way.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I got it for you for your birthday.
19, yo.
19. All right. Yes. You blast it. You hear a metallic ping, and it's like a little can, like a little empty can, that she pulled out of nowhere. And she picks up the can and goes, noticeably not hot. Actually a little cold. We could do cold. We could do freezy stuff. We could also consider this acid. Acid is still burny, but it's something not quite as common. And lots of
I like
things in
acid.
this world, a lot of things in this world are good against fire. Fire is overdone. You know,
I don't want to be a normie.
you don't want to be a normie.
So-
Fire magic is normie magic. Everyone knows this. Cold magic
All right.
is cool. Acid
So
damage is cool.
then let's shift it to acid because acid is cool.
And are you going to cast it around yourself? Because if you're in the same room while this is happening, you're going to have a bad time too.
Yes. Do I then? Yeah. So I guess let's talk through this because I've never used acid before. Is acid like a gas, a liquid? Like, does it hang out in one area?
Well, we can always develop the configuration of the acid, right? So if it's a liquid on the ground, you can avoid it more easily, which also means your enemies can avoid it probably more easily. But you could probably control it a little better. There is a spell called Acid Spray that's already a thing. But if you want something that can cover, if you want it like to be like a gas, like sort of what it sounded like and you want it to stick around, we can figure that out. But then you might want to have to develop it into something that you can cast forth away from you, not necessarily around yourself. That seems dangerous.
So then maybe it can be like an acid wind or acid breath or something.
Ooh, acid breath.
And like blow it forward.
Ooh, she says, now that's very interesting. She goes up to the like another bench that has like some it has titanite, like a big hunk of titanite on it that you saw when you walked in. But next to it is like more little vials. There's like some sort of bottle that has like a neon green liquid in it, and some sort of plant material floating inside of it, some sort of tincture. She grabs it very carefully. She grabs like a big bellows off of like from under the table, a small book that sort of has like it's sort of like encased in metal, and then she gathers it and she puts it in a little basket and then hands that to you. And she goes, pick another spot outside, probably far away from the kobold, because I'm guessing he's going to explode something, which is part of the process. There's lots of, and you notice on the ground, there's been scorch marks all over the place. In fact, there's more scorched than not, and that's why you didn't notice it at first. It's just like the ground inside, outside, all scorched, and it's really like the walking paths that have not been, that are the soot has been kind of like brushed away on. And she has you just like she's clearly like has a read on you and trusts you more than Cassis, because she walked Cassis all the way out to a very specific place, and then you seem fairly responsible to her, and so she just kind of gives you the things. She goes, oh, the vial, very dangerous, don't breathe that in. You're definitely do something with it, but figure that out. And
Suppository.
you don't want to put that inside anything.
Gotcha.
You really trust me. You don't. So you're also going to roll an Arcana check for me.
Yep.
And then she turns to Sun. Sun, how is Sun feeling right now?
Sun's pretty excited. Sun's been looking over at Cassis and Orion, kind of fiddling around with their stuff, and is like, ooh, kind of interested in learning how to cast spells, and get more into it. A little nervous, just because they don't know who Lux is per se, but pretty excited. So Sun goes ahead and says, okay, so what if we've had several like run-ins, I guess you could say, with like the raw magic on the island, and like there's been like really interesting encounters with like the Titanite, and just things out of the ordinary. And Sun goes on to say, I think it would be really cool if I was able to like more clearly detect or like maybe even visualize the presence of like the raw magic when it's within a certain distance from me. I don't know exactly what that would look like, or if I would need to have like Titanite in my hand in order to do that. But the idea of that sounds really interesting. If that's something that we can work with at all.
You see her eyes go wide, and she's clearly very excited by this thought process. Um, you remember from last time, or really, I mean, in the game time, it was like 25 minutes ago, maybe,
Yeah.
where she's just living out in the raw magic wilds, which is strange because you were told, and most people feel the effects of if you stay out in the raw magic wilds for too long, it starts to take a toll on your body, and it can have some pretty bad effects. And that's why you all had to carry or you didn't, you and Orion didn't, but Elle and Cassis had to carry these palimpsests around to absorb the ambient raw magic so that it wouldn't, get absorbed into their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But you see that she's out here living her life, just doing shit, and she goes, "Yes, this is a very good idea. You've got. I like the brain that you have. This is good." She actually motions you over to that big hunk of titanite that's on the table, and she says, "Put your hand on this." You start to feel like some warmth coming off of it. This is sort of, it's not the biggest chunk you've ever seen because there was that big crystal, a huge one in the first, a couple days ago with the Cassis's graduation ceremony.
Right.
But it's probably the biggest you've seen outside of that. Like usually it comes in like little stones or in powder form. This is like a big amalgamation of a lot of different shards. You can see they're like different colors and stuff. It's the result of Lux's spell to like gather the titanite in the surrounding area. And as you sort of feel this warmth, you feel that same circuit of raw magic kind of like running through you and through the stone itself. Go ahead and make let's do insight check.
Insight. That's a D20, right?
Yes.
That I roll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I got a 12. I think +3 for insight?
Maybe.
Yes, so 12 + 3, 15.
Awesome. With the 15, you start to feel like a rhythm of that circuit, and it is sort of vaguely like a pulse, like a heart, almost like a heartbeat. Not quite as warm to the touch as, say, one of the humanoids that you've encountered, and you've done a little bit of medical training as a paladin for healing and stuff, so you have some sort of feel for that kind of thing. But the feeling in your hand is sort of like some sort of life that's flowing through this, and you're like thinking about like the connection between raw magic and life and the cataclysm, and like how the big cataclysm is what the Archwarlock used to raise the Titans out of the sea, and the Titans, by all accounts, seem like alive. Mm-hmm. And then there's the ambient raw magic. You can't quite put together all the pieces yet, but you're starting to see those pieces in the same space in your mind. With like raw magic, life, Titans, cataclysm. And Lux goes, "See, this is very important, and I think that being able to detect raw magic wherever you go, I have a spell that's a very powerful version of that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can learn it. I don't think any of you can learn it right now. But if you come back, maybe one time I'll teach it to you when you're stronger. But we can get you a small version of it." And she says, "You don't have to get anything else. Just stay here and hold this, and just sit with that. That's the first step of this spell for sure. You need to be able to recognize the rhythm of the raw magic throughout the world, in order to see it, in order to cast magic about it, to detect it. If once you as a person can feel that, you're going to be in a good spot. And she walks out. What does she walk out to with when she sees Cassis out in the field?
Sorry. So basically, I've like covered myself and Wah in the copper shavings, and I've been messing around with the different places to attach the electricity to from the wiring, and it's just like covering us in electricity. And I'm like sitting there getting shocked, like, and it's stunning me in a way that makes it so I'm forgetting what happened almost. So I keep going back and forth to the same stuff.
What did you get on your Arcana check?
I got a 23 though.
23.
So
So over the next 3 hours, it's going to start getting into at the end of the 3 hours, the sun's going to start to go down and such. But over these 3 hours, you're making excellent progress. Lux is out there supervising for a second. Anytime you go to put the wire in the same place you've already done and gotten shocked, she like moves it to a new place for you to figure out how that shock feels. So you already did that one, but here, let's go. And so she's starting to help you develop where you want to put sort of like how, or like sort of intuiting the flow of electricity and studying the flow of electricity through you. As a blue kobold, you do sort of have an innate sense of this, but also like how it flows through other creatures and other constructs such as your steel defender, and how to manipulate that flow of electricity. You're having trouble getting it to stick, like that's sort of the big problem here, is like, how do I have this stay for an extended period of time versus, and like not have to have like a direct line to electricity or whatever, like this cable that you have. So that's sort of like the problem solving that's happening here. But you're making really good progress. Lux actually looks impressed, and she starts making the rounds to the other people. What did Orion get on her Arcana check?
17.
17. You're sort of experimenting with the acid and like what does it look like when she comes over to you? When Lux comes over to Orion, what does this scene look like?
So I feel like my idea was if I'm here, I kind of went off ahead a little ways, like near a tree or something, and poured like a drop of acid near the tree and like sprinted away. And so I'm watching from afar what happens and like taking down notes and that. So when she comes over, I'm like, don't go over there. And I'm sure she's like, what does she do? But yeah.
Yeah, there's just like a thin stream of smoke coming from where you poured the acid. She sees you way far away from this thing, and she kind of like does that thing where teachers of like putting her hands behind her back and just sort of like looking around and like looks over at you, and like kind of squints over. She's like, can you even tell what's happening over there?
I'm like, yeah, and I can kind of feel it because it's through the earth or the Titan shell, if you will.
And she goes, oh, you can feel that? First of all,
Yeah.
You're way too far away from this thing to get anything done. That's why you're not making any progress. But tell me about this. Wait, you can feel it.
Yeah, it's like a soft tingling or like a feather tickling. Like I can feel it. It doesn't hurt, but there's something there, so I'm aware of it.
That's very interesting. So she walks away a little bit. She puts her hand in like a finger gun. This was the position her hand was in when you all rolled up to her house, and she had lightning crackling around her finger. And she pulls out this same like somatic component of the spell and has this finger gun ready, crackling with lightning, and then she shoots it into the ground and goes, "Did you feel that?"
And I go, ooh.
She goes, this is okay. We've got to take another approach with you. This is very, very interesting. And she goes and grabs the little vial of acid that she gave to you, and you see there's that little plant there, and she goes, this is too processed. You've got a connection. Why don't you come over here? And she like motions you to come over to where you poured the acid, and actually she kind of yells into the house and asks, "Son, can you come out here as well?"
Yeah, what's going on?
She says, "I need you to call on some of the some of the plant life from this exact spot." And as your Oath of the Ancients sort of training, you can use your channel divinity to raise stuff, to the vines and such out of the ground.
Right.
And so, how do you do this?
Okay, so Sun, I guess is like, okay, so I'm gonna call upon the plant matter in the area. They kind of close their eyes and they try to focus. I would say you could. I mean, I don't really know. I would say Sun probably tries to use their hands as a way to channel or focus the energy. And as their hands kind of come together, I guess you can start to see tiny little sprouts and vines start to come up in the area around them.
Oh yeah. So Orion, you see this sort of happening, then you also start to see Lux channeling some sort of magic as well. And both of you actually can feel, how you felt the circuit of raw magic through yourselves and through the wilds and through Stinky the Imp, sort of that sort of circuit. You can feel the circuit going, and you feel Lux is one of the nodes now, and she's sort of also channeling some of this. What you see is what is sort of, they start to look like the regular vines that Sun usually summons out of the ground for this divine ability. But as Lux is involved in this, you see sort of these flowers start to open, and the buds appear and then unfurl. And she says, "All right, everybody, let's take a step back." And you see sort of these spores and sort of the same color as the acid in the vial that starts to cloud out. And she says, "Orion, I think this is more of what you might want to go for if you have a connection to the ground. Now, it was your friend here who did this, but I think this might be a better direction for you. And Brooke, I want you to make one more Arcana check. This is going to be a help action, sort of inspiration, sort of deal. So we'll see if you can get that Arcana check now."
So I did 19.
19. Oh, so close.
Yeah.
But you are making progress. You're sort of kind of working your way through. There's sort of new ideas that you can work with now, and perhaps that might help you in the future. So we have Cassis with 1 success. We have Orion with almost a success, but none quite yet. And then Lux motions over to you, Sun, says, "Thank you very much for your help. Let's come back inside and give me that Arcana check for Sun."
Okay. I got an 18.
18. So not bad. You're starting to get the sense of this magic and the feel for it, but you're not quite sure how to turn it into actual spell casting quite yet. So this is all happening over the course of about 3 hours. You're kind of studying. Everybody's kind of working through all these new spell casting. It's very difficult to create a spell. None of you are even wizards, which are the people who have the experience of they write down spells, they can copy spells with their spell books, they learn, they are able to cast magic through rigorous study, and Cassis is kind of the closest with the artificing, and so it sort of does actually make sense that he's the one who is making the most progress. The sun's starting to go down. Lux goes, "Well, it's good work, everyone. sun's going down. You should stay here because you're apparently children, and actually nobody should be going out into the wilds at night. You just can't see stuff very well, and anything can happen. It's dangerous during the day, it's dangerous at night, but it's probably extra dangerous at night. So we'll just you just sleep in the living room, I guess. She doesn't have like other rooms for other people. It's not like this is not like a hotel, or it's not a cottage in the woods for other people. It's for her only. So she's like, I'll go to sleep. Don't touch anything that'll kill you, which is most of the stuff here. Oh, there's food. You should have some, probably, I guess. But if you have food that you brought yourselves, you should probably eat that first, because this is my food. But if you need more food, it's there if you really need it. And she goes into another room, and you don't hear anything from that room for the rest of the night, leaving you all to yourselves. So I'll let you know as a DM what you can do now is really anything. You could continue to work if you want. It's only sundown, right? So you can try to do more studying. You can try to prep for the rest of the journey. Whatever you want to do. You can go to sleep early. Try to get an early start. You can decide whatever you want to do.
So Cassis is a bit of a night owl, I'd say. So doesn't even see very well during the daytime. So I think he wants to get out and continue close to the cottage, but to be able to just continue experimenting nearby, since it's going to be easier for him, I think.
You're in a flow state.
That's right, yeah.
Give me that Arcana check now, and we'll resolve this right away as everyone else sort of figures out what they want to do.
18.
18. You're working, so we'll say this is like 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock approximately. This period of time you're working. You're not making quite as much progress as you were doing earlier with Lux's help. Now you're sort of on your own, figuring this stuff out. You're shocking yourself, also, doing all this sort of stuff. The shocks aren't as insightful as you want them to be. You're not learning as much from getting hurt by the electricity. So it's progress. I'm gonna say you all, as you've been rolling in 15 to 20 areas, most of you, or everybody has. We'll say that counts. If you can get 2 of those, that counts for 1 success. So it's sort of like a half success, because it's not like you're not working on it. You are setting aside the time to do this. But if you get a 15 through 20, it'll count for half of a success. What's everybody else doing?
Sorry. Even though Orion is tired, she stays up a little bit longer to try and figure out this acid flower growth plant thing, but understanding without a little bit of sunlight or something, probably can't do it throughout the night. So that's where she's at.
So are you studying the flower itself, or are you going to try to work on the spell some more? Because this is still like a 6 to 9 hour, everybody can still do stuff. This is, still fairly early.
Yeah, so I think I'm studying the flower probably.
Okay.
But with that, kind of trying to figure out, maybe I'm figuring out the spell later, but with the daylight that I have left, studying the flower.
Okay, give me a nature check.
Nature 17.
This won't count towards the spell, but you are sort of learning about this flower. You're seeing that, yes, it started out as the vines that Sun brings out when they cast this Channel Divinity spell. But the flowers are pretty new. They're sort of iridescent blue, but also sort of a deep scarlet that kind of change depending on where you're looking at them. And they sort of let out these spores, a sort of acid cloud almost. that kind of goes away after a minute, and whenever you like try to probe it or whatever, it kind of like releases some more spores for you to study. You're kind of getting a sense of like, there's that sort of tingling again as you sort of have this connection to Archwarlock, but you're not quite able to really get a strong sense of how this is interacting and how you would access it via spellcasting. But I will say, since that was pretty, a pretty high roll, not a 20, but for your next like Arcana check towards this spell, you'll have a +2.
Okay.
What's Sun doing?
Sun feels positively famished. Sun goes outside to kind of pester Cassis and is like, Cassis, do we have any food? Or do we pack anything at all? Is there anything that I could possibly munch on? I don't trust what's in the lady's fridge.
I was thinking we would eat that first, so we could save our own supplies. But yeah, I have plenty in my backpack.
What do we bring?
See what's back there for me. I think I packed some stuff from the veggie garden, and then too much milk. Too much milk for a long journey.
So much milk.
Sun goes
So
over
much milk.
and looks into the supplies. It looks like we have some fruits and veggies. So Sun grabs an apple and wanders over to Lux's cabinets and pantries and fridge to kind of be like, okay, guys, well, I'll see if there's anything worth consuming. Leave it to me. Kind of rummaging around through the pantry.
Yeah, you're going through all the food there. It's a lot of like dry goods, like just so many 40-pound bags of rice. You know how it is. There's lots of like dried fruits and veggies and stuff. There's like also fresh stuff that like, because there's like a garden around here where Lux grows a lot of her own food. Not a lot of meat here. You haven't really seen a lot of animals around. You see like weirdly stuffed between all the food is like shards of titanite, and you really don't know what that's about, but they're just like, in between the bags of rice, in between dried fruits and stuff, there's it's a lot of like, if someone were, it's kind of what you expect for someone living out alone in the forest.
Yeah, okay.
But with the exception of the titanite
Right.
kind of being all strewn out throughout it.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Sun kind of goes around the kitchen and kind of calls over their shoulder. Do you think Lux would mind if I used some of their pots and pans to make anything? Do you think she'd have my head for that?
She could.
Might.
I feel like go for
You
it.
should let us use all kinds of other things for experimentation, so I don't think this is outside of that. Just say you were trying to make a spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Sun grabs one of the big pots, one of the pans, and finds, some mushrooms and onions that have been in the pantry, and throws them in. And it's like, okay, well, I'm personally going to be making dinner. You guys have fun.
Yeah, are you going to do it just straight up, just making a regular old mushroom and onion dish?
Yeah, and then maybe they'll use some sauce and put it over rice.
What kind of sauce? Where are you getting this sauce?
Yes.
Because there's sauces in the pantry as well, but they're not well labeled. They're just wild colors.
Just eat the titanite sauce. Just do a titanite reduction.
Titanite reduction.
Oh my gosh.
There's a couple of bottles, and they all look kind of bizarre, strangely shaped, different colors. Sun opens one or two and kind of smells them. It says, "Well, this one smells sweet, and this one smells something like soy sauce." So I think I'll I'll take my chances with these two.
Okay. This is just going to be a luck check. This is just random. Um, just roll a d20, and
Gotcha.
you want an 11 through 20, and a 1 through 10 will be interesting.
Okay. I got a 17.
17. Okay. The one that smells like soy sauce is soy sauce. The other one, you don't know what it is, but it's not having any magical effects right now.
Okay.
However, I need you to make. We'll do this as like a cooking check, which will be we'll do a wisdom. You'll do d20 plus your wisdom.
Okay.
And do you think is Sun a good cook, or is like are they?
I would say they're average, and they've had a few mishaps before.
Okay, so you will not add your proficiency bonus. You'll just roll a d20 and add your wisdom to this.
Okay. That is a 9 plus 1, and I got a 10.
A 10. It's not terrible.
Okay.
It's not terrible. I think it's like one of those things where you put too much soy sauce, or like you didn't realize how salty this soy sauce was going to be, so you
Okay.
did the normal amount, but it's not standardized because she just makes it.
All right. Okay.
So it's edible.
It's
It
edible.
doesn't taste good. It tastes pretty bad. Well, it doesn't taste bad. Sorry, it doesn't taste bad. It's just like, ooh,
It's tough to get down.
Yeah,
I see.
it's like you're just almost you're like on the edge of not being able to finish it.
Right.
It's like one of those things like I don't want to waste food, so I'm just gonna finish this.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not
It's something.
you're not enjoying it, that's for sure.
Okay.
But if it had been lower, it would have been maybe something interesting would have happened. So it's fine for now.
Safe.
Tastes like licking
Yeah.
batteries, which is what Cassis is doing anyway.
My favorite food.
So that's the 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock block. We'll have one more block for y'all to do, and then probably want to hit the hay. This is the 9 to 12 block of the night. How are you all spending it?
Cassis hasn't spent time out in the wilds that like basically at night. So hearing all that stuff about just suspicious sounding stuff, it was too much for Cassis to ignore. So I'm gonna send Wah out there and then the homunculus out there to just kind of see if they can stir up whatever it is that we're trying to look for, or that I'm trying to see. And I stay like peeking out of the cabin to like see what happens to them. So I'm just trying to bait whatever nonsense is out at night.
So you're sending them out, obviously not sneakily. You're just trying to get them to.
Yeah. If anything, I put some of the pots and pans on them. Just make them a pots and pans robot.
So I'm gonna say, this is kind of. Do you have proficiency in any charisma skills? Do you have like persuasion or deception or intimidation or performance?
I have a -1 to all of those.
Okay,
Does that help?
so you don't have proficiency in any of them, but what I would have done was like roll one of those, but use your intelligence instead of charisma. So just make a flat intelligence check. This is not you won't have.
I have survival.
Survival is
Wisdom.
This is going to be a flat intelligence check, no proficiency, because you're using your intelligence to do a sort of like charisma, almost like a performance sort of thing, or deception, but you don't have proficiency in them. You just use your intelligence.
Wow, that's a lot of. So that's without the proficiency, you said,
So
right?
just add it's a flat d20 roll plus intelligence.
That is a 10.
10. You hear some stuff in the brush and the woods, kind of like you hear flapping. which you assume is like wings. You hear some like frog-ish sounds, not quite frog sounds, but just frog-ish sounds, which is maybe unsettling to some people. But nothing like comes out directly into the clearing or anything. Like you're not able to sufficiently rile these things up with your homunculi.
Notes from Cassis. Sufficient proof of flying frogs at night.
Flapping and froggish noises equals probably flying frogs. I'll say that's a that doesn't take 3 hours, but that's we'll come back around to you. What else?
Sure.
What is everybody else doing?
Yes, I think Orion's done looking at the flowers, and she's gonna do like a brief attempt at the spell, but is definitely like an early-ish to bed person. So still gonna try and practice out the spell, maybe till like 10:30 or so. Yeah.
Okay, give me that Arcana roll. Remember, you have that +2 from
Yep.
studying it earlier.
So an unnatural 20.
Hell yeah. Right, exactly what you needed. So this is you can mark down 1 success towards the spell. How are you going about this?
It's a great question. I don't really know how I would go about it. Like,
So you already succeeded. How do you think you came upon this success? How did Orion like get?
I think it was really just like a combination of repetition and slight alterations, like keeping a notebook of like what did I try and did it fail or succeed, and like systematically coming to a way of how it succeeded, like the 1 or 2 times it happened.
Brute force.
Yes.
Brute force calculations. Look, it works.
Yep.
So you use whatever knowledge you gained from the nature check from earlier of studying those flowers, and just
Yeah.
0001, 0002, 0003.
Yep.
Awesome. And then you go to sleep. There's like Lux left out like some like very old blankets and like little like what looks like probably like pillowcases full of like beans or rice or whatever, and lay them out on the living room floor. There's all this dangerous shit around the living room. Still that big hunk of titanite that's sort of glimmering in the moonlight a little bit. There's like a little skylight in the middle of the ceiling where the moon is kind of shining through and twinkling off of the titanite. And you just conk out. You got something done, and you're ready to get some rest. What is Sun doing with their time?
I feel like Sun is happily, well, maybe not super happily, but they're full enough. And they are, I feel like they're just still kind of interested in like the sword. And if anything, I feel like they're trying to tinker with like the titanite next to the sword. They're like trying to like make it touch or like clinking them together. We're trying to see if there's like anything they can do to like see if there's any like magicalness surrounding the sword. Trying to channel that. They're not having a lot of luck, I feel like. But if anything, like they're just sitting outside, like watching Cassis or Orion, and also like fiddling around with the sword and like waving it around, like seeing if they feel anything from it, things like that.
Awesome. So we'll call this persuasion.
Okay. Six plus 4, 10.
You're sort of waving it around. You do feel some resonances. Like you're starting to get better at like detecting these resonances, but with a 10, you're not quite able to turn it into anything overtly useful at the moment. But you are spending time with the sword. You have the runes on the sword are there, and you remember from the drawings that this is sort of the same text that's over the door that you saw in the book when Orion helped you guys in the library, and the cross guard on the sword has those wings coming off of it,
Right.
and you're just getting used to the feel of the sword as a sword.
Hmm.
Not quite able to access the magical properties, but always good to have practice with a new weapon, as you know from your training, and you're able to do that. Um, we're going to come back to Cassis, who wasn't able to rile anything up out of the forest. I'll say you can do like one more thing before the night, or you can also, I'm not making anybody go to sleep at the midnight mark, so you can absolutely do more beyond that. But one more thing for this block for Cassis.
Yeah, the idea for Cassis, I think, was it was a stakeout as long as it could go. So, well, which I think would be ending at 12. So,
Okay.
either another attempt at that, or if it's just that's what I get for the time being, then I'm good with that too.
Yeah, so that'll be like that roll covers that whole period. Son, are you going to sleep?
I feel like Sun's pretty tired. Maybe around like 11. I feel like Sun would be like, yeah, I'm ready to hit the hay. Yeah. I feel like Sun will be trying to go to bed before midnight.
Cool. When Robbie returns, we'll see what Cassis does. Cassis is going to work into the night, or also go to sleep. You have also so you had that little engine on the cart that exploded because of the raw magic surge. So you also are gonna have to figure out like what the best way to like get around for the rest of the trip is. Like L is there as well, but has been like sticking around the outskirts of the thing, not really a wizardly type, and so they've just been kind of going around the area and sort of doing recon to figure out like what the best way forward is. That's kind of their role in the expedition, is since they've been on a lot of these expeditions before, they kind of know what to look for, and they're sort of like in business mode outside in the surrounding areas. But as it gets dark, they come back in and they also go to sleep. What do you think Orion is thinking about as they drift off to sleep?
I think she's like first thought of mind is like, wow, this bean pillow is really uncomfortable. But I think she's probably like patting herself on the back for like learning another spell, because it's not easy. So like feeling good about that and excited and still intrigued by the further connection she finds to Ahumla. But yeah, just I think feeling good and accomplished.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And goes right to sleep.
Yeah.
What is Sun thinking about as they drift off to sleep?
I feel like Sun is probably I feel like Sun kind of misses home a little bit. I feel like they're like, oh, today was really fun. It was nice. I got to see Orion and Cassis like fiddle around and like acquire new skills. I feel like Sun maybe feels a little not like bummed, but like, man, I wish I could have come up with a cool move. I like had something flashy as well that would like make me look cool or useful. They kind of maybe miss mom and dad, but at the same time they're like, well, I'm having a great adventure. I'm having fun. Um, so I feel like they have a couple thoughts, but then they drift off to bed eventually.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is Cassis going to sleep, or is Cassis going to charge ahead into the night?
I think as I see everyone else kind of settle in, Cassis is going to just kind of take the cue and go to bed as well.
Cool. What is Cassis thinking about as he goes to sleep?
He's thinking about the basically the compliment he was paid earlier. It's like, yeah, like this is going to be a lot more like the Titan, and then thinking about all the other Titans that are out there and how many different elements could be like associated with them. Maybe they all have different wild magic fields, and maybe there's something about that. It's just basically trying to piece together, or use all the information and then think about all the good things that kind of happen in the day. Because it was just a good day for Cassis. So.
Yeah. There was some raw magic shenanigans which you had to get through, but once you got through them, you came across a very interesting person, and who has, if not answers, at least methods towards answers that to the questions that a lot of you have. So it's sort of been it was a good day, wasn't it? And you all drift off to sleep. And speaking of the other Titans, just as a plug for another session that I ran in this world, I ran it for 2 members of Mayday Roleplay, check them out, and 2 members of Cast Die Podcast, check them out, both awesome podcasts. And I ran a one-shot for 2 from each group, and they explored a different Titan. And that was a very fun adventure that was recorded. It's currently being edited and will drop on the Cast Die podcast feed soon, perhaps also the Mayday Roleplay feed as well. But that'll be coming out if you guys included, players and audience, want to check out what happens on one of the other Titans. But yeah, who do you think wakes up first out of everyone?
I'd say probably Orion. I feel like it's one of those sun up, sun down, maybe connection to the Titan of like, when the day starts. I feel like that makes sense. So I think she gets up, probably tries to brew some tea or coffee or some beverage for the morning, but doesn't understand what Lady Lux's jars of things are and is just too afraid to eat some herb. So she ends up drinking hot water and is like, this is good enough.
Yeah. Who do you think gets up next?
I would say I think I was gonna say Sun.
I think Cassis is a nervous sleeper, but yeah.
Oh.
I feel like Sun would sleep in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I feel like Sun would sleep in.
You probably have to get up really early for training with the Order of the Ancients, so maybe this is your chance to sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
True.
And Cassis, living by himself, like if he hears anything, just freaks out and is just ready to go, and just like, oh yeah, so I guess this is it. This is the time to do things.
Yeah, you wake up and you see Orion sipping out of a cup, an unknown liquid, unknown to you anyway, and you lock eyes across the room.
Good morning. What's in that mug? I think I want to try it.
Yeah. Here, try it.
Ooh.
Just try it.
I want to try something. I stir it with some of the spare Titanite that's around the room. Everyone else is infused with this stuff. It's got to be good.
Are you like a little stir version, like a thin wine or whatever?
Just a little stir of Titanite.
and then you take a sip.
Yeah.
Hit me with that D100 roll.
Okay. My dice are not as organized as they should be. All right. That is a 2.
A 2.
Wait, a 2?
Yeah,
2.
Out of the 100.
You die. You died drinking
hot water. I don't know if that's how that works usually, but I guess it depends. But yeah,
it's a D100 roll. So you take the sip, Sun. As you're sort of like coming out of your sleep, you're the last to wake up. You have one of those like dreams that you're not sure if it's a dream, but you're kind of like between waking and sleeping, and this image sort of comes to you. It starts as just like a black circle, and it
Okay.
zooms out, and there's like sort of this yellowish circle around it.
Okay.
And then outside, you keep zooming. It keeps zooming out, and there's these like sort of like skin around this sphere, and you're zooming out and zooming out, and you're seeing hanging off of the back. You start to see sort of like almost like a floating optic nerve coming off of this thing, and you're zooming out, and you wake up to what is almost certainly a scream. Orion and Cassis, you recognize this right away. It is it is Stinky's eye from the Dream Realm that you fought way back many months ago, and it is floating in front of you all, and this thing is sort of it's like 6 feet in length, but like floating off the ground. The magic that you consumed sort of connected some sort of circuit and summoned just Stinky's eye, not Stinky himself, but Stinky's eye. And actually, son, when you like wake up, you can like see out of one of your eyes, you see what Stinky's eye is seeing, and then you blink it away, and your vision's normal again. But you hear like in your brains, everyone, sort of like this just angry gurgling from in Stinky's voice, and you everybody make a wisdom saving throw.
17.
11.
19.
19. Sun and Orion, you feel this sort of like oppressive emotion start to like encroach on your consciousness, but you're able to push it back and kind of like stand your ground. Cassis, you are overcome with fear as this like just big eye is staring straight at you, and this sort of magical wave of fear washes over you, and you're unable to shake it. You're going to have to start running away as long as this thing is in your line of sight. How does Cassis express fear? He feels like a sort of a nervous, fearful person already, but like, what is this?
Yeah.
How does this express in this moment?
So with Cassis, I think being a kobold, there's just like a particular reaction. It's just like boom, right to his belly, and then just like crawl, like tries to slink away out of sight, like really quickly to where he can't be seen. Like
do you drop your tail?
I'm just really little, so I'm just a little guy, so I can get under stuff or around stuff really quick. So that I think that's what Cassis is trying to do, just like, and then like
just a little guy.
Just a little guy. He's just trying to get under stuff and like get away like he would in a cave because he's smaller than things that would be chasing him.
You all hear in your head like just the hissing sound of Stinky's voice, but much deeper and more reverberating, like, I'm back, baby! And I need everybody to roll initiative.
Stinky.
I love Wild Magic tables. They're the best.
Okay. I thought it was a 1, but it's a 7.
Okay.
17.
17.
I rolled a 2, and I think my initiative has a -2 modifier, so I think I have a 0.
0. Yeah.
Sun's not in this fight. They're going back to bed.
Fuck this.
Can't touch me.
I'm out of here. So, Orion, you rolled a 17, you said?
7.
A 7.
Yeah.
And Cassis rolled a 17. Is that
Yeah.
Okay. Cassis, you're up first. You are currently frightened, so you do have to use your action to scramble away. But at the end of your turn, you can make an additional wisdom saving throw to try to break it.
All right. I scramble towards maybe, I don't know if there's that room that the other person was in. So it's just go towards that, or I guess whatever the closest door is.
Yeah,
So I'm going to go towards Lex's room.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And then I guess try to make my way in.
you go to turn the doorknob, but it's locked.
Okay, so I just keep jingling the door and beating on it.
Because your steel defender, I think your steel defender goes right after you, right, in the initiative order.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
can. Oh wait, make the additional wisdom save. I think you can.
16.
16. Okay, so you're able to shake the fear. You shake out of the fear. It's still scary, but you're not like magically compelled to do anything about it. You can issue a command to your steel defender if you would like. Wah.
All right, well, go beat Stinky's butt. It doesn't. It's non-existent butt, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna have Wah run over. Hopefully, Wah has the rake and go over and just smack him in the eye with his rend.
Hell yeah, give me that attack roll.
All right. That's 15.
15 will hit. Give me that damage.
Damage. Right. Is this the right? No, that would have been a little bit extra. That would have been spicy. All right.
It's not 2d20 damage?
Yeah, right. That is 4. Just too much
I think
damage.
that's force damage, right?
Yes, force damage.
Okay, cool. What is just smacks while just takes the rake, it smacks into the eyeball. That's the only thing to hit.
Yeah, trying to scratch some cornea, just really get in there.
Just really get in there, and you got a big glowing eye, and everybody knows from video games that you smack the glowing eye.
That's what you gotta do.
Next in the order is Orion.
Okay. So I find it extremely rude that Stinky would just show up again and be whispering nonsense. So I'm gonna cast silence on him.
Ooh. So that's gonna
haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 20-foot radius sphere,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Are you gonna put it? I'll say you are like within 20 feet of Stinky, but you can place it wherever you want. Like you can place it just on. You can like move out of the way and just on him because it's gonna be like you don't cast it on a person, you just cast it on an area. So you can choose which area that you want it in.
Yeah, I'd say like probably just out of reach of us.
Okay.
Like definitely shooting for just encapsulating Stinky.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, and you have a bonus action if you want to summon the.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to summon
my
obelisk?
Yes, my obelisk. Yeah, so I'm gonna summon the obelisk and just have it here with me in case it's needed.
You can have it smack Stinky.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Yep.
Okay, so let me do that. So summon. So, all right. So let me roll to see if obelisk hits. Oh, okay. So math. 22.
Ooh, yeah, that'll hit.
Okay, so then my D8, which is you. 8.
Woo!
8 damage.
I think that's cold damage too, right?
Yes. Icy cold.
Icy cold. So what does it look like? You all are like inside the like kitchen sort of area because you were sipping the hot water. And how do you summon the obelisk? Where does it come from, and what does the attack look like?
Okay, so I was gonna joke that it came out of Lady Lux's like ice machine, but I'm thinking she probably doesn't have an ice machine. So I think the obelisk comes, I don't know, maybe like through the window, but like in a form that it doesn't break the window, if that makes sense. Okay. So through the window, and if I were to imagine a kitchen, like if we're around like the counter and the sink and whatever, Stinky's probably over by like the kitchen nook table or something. So obelisk shoots through the window and kind of becomes this like icy beam or maybe like icicle type thing, and just
smacks right in the eye.
Yeah.
You can hear the fluid in this eyeball like freeze and crackle, and the scream that reverberates in your heads is just so grating and loud.
Or is it? Because he's silent.
He's silent, but in your heads, since you're outside, you can hear it in your heads, but not.
Yep.
It's not outward. There's no sound of this. Actually, the crackling and the ice, that you can't hear that because it's fully.
I can imagine.
You can
it.
imagine. It's what it would sound like if you
Yes.
hadn't cast silence on it. You see, Stinky goes to try to like cast a spell, but because of the silence, can't cast a real spell, and is gonna just have to like run up to you, and is gonna smack you with a little tail whip, little optic nerve whip.
Nice.
And we're gonna roll that attack. Ooh, that is going to be a 22 to hit, which I believe hits.
Maybe.
It's the warlock, the fathomless warlock. And we're gonna do. Oh baby, that is max damage. That's gonna be 10 points of slashing damage.
Oh baby.
As this, this tail whip comes around, dashes forward at you, whips its tail, and catches you across the face. You've got some like the blood streaming down your cheek.
Rude.
And Stinky is very mad, and very. You can see like the bloodshot sort of effect over its yellow. Eyeball,
Yeah.
and if it had an eyebrow, it would be very angry. Up next is Sun. It is your turn.
I feel like Sun is disoriented and startled, having been greeted by this immediately upon waking up from their slumber.
That would explain the 0 initiative roll.
Yes.
I think they're fumbling for a good minute, and then they grab their sword and they're like, okay, shit, I'm ready. And then immediately after Orion gets hit, they're like, okay, well, I should try to slash this thing with my sword now. So I guess they'd just try to attack using that sword.
Yeah, the sword will use a normal longsword stats for now.
Okay. So that's like the 1d8 plus 5?
Yes, but you gotta roll to see if you hit first.
Okay. Let me roll the 20 first. I got an 11.
11.
Yeah.
Did you add the... How did you get the 11? Did you click just the d20?
Yeah, it was just the d20.
And then you have to add your attack bonus. Right, so strength and proficiency. It should automatically do it if you hit the longsword button.
Okay, strength. Okay, plus 5. Is that 16 then?
Yes, and 16 will hit.
Gotcha.
And so then you'll roll. Are you doing it 2 hands or 1 hand?
2 hands.
So you can click the 1d10.
Okay.
And then if you feel so inclined, remember you have the Divine Smite feature as a paladin where you can expend a spell slot to do an additional 2d8 damage. But how much did you roll on this first, just the sword hit?
Just the 1d10, I got a 2, so I would like to use the series.
Well, it's a 2 plus your strength.
2 plus strength, okay, so 5.
Okay, so are you going to want to do the Divine Smite?
I am.
Okay, so go ahead and there should be a button under like features or something, I believe. Maybe not, or you can just roll 2d8 on the character sheet.
2d8. Okay, I got a 3 and a 4 to give me 7. And then do I need to add the strength again or
no?
Not
You don't
here?
add the strength again, but that's 7 plus 5, 12.
Yes.
All right. So make sure you mark off one spell slot, your first level spell slot, or one of the first level spell slots, because that's how you do that ability. What does this attack look like as you get both hands around this long sword And what does the smite look like? What is this? So this is the divine smite feature. It's coming from your like Oath of the Ancients powers, but you also have this magical sword in your hand that you're not quite sure what it does. What do you think? What do you think this looks like?
I feel like it would look very bright. Like it would look. I feel like it would feel hot to the touch, and it would be very bright. So I feel like it would look almost like it was glowing, like the sword itself.
Ooh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like that's what it would look like.
Where are you hitting Stinky? I want to see like what kind of hold are you doing? Like just like a thrust? I want to see a little bit of cinematics. What do you think? How are you envisioning
Like
this?
I would just try to. I would try to do like a broad a swipe diagonally, like a slash. Yeah.
You go, you like kind of wake up to this commotion. You like almost see through Stinky's eye. You see all this action happening. You see Stinky attack your friend, and you grip your sword tightly with both hands and run up. I feel like there's a jumping slash involved too, and you come swinging across the eye with your glowing magical sword, and you see this gash open in the eye, and light erupts from it, and everybody is blinded for a second, and you hear just this like sizzling sound, just reverberating in your heads, and then a little whisper of, "I'll be back."
Oh my gosh.
And when the light clears and your eyes adjust to the room again, Stinky's eye is gone, and you've sort of dispelled this incarnation of your imp friend, not friend, but the imp that sort of comes out during certain expressions of your connection to the raw magic, which you still have to figure out. You don't know what exactly happens, but Stinky was somehow evoked, and you were able to beat him back. I was so you've got this sword. It's the faint glow starting to dim, but you're standing there having dealt the final blow. How is Sun feeling?
Sun feels pretty cool. They're like, did you guys see that? I did that. Cassis, did you see that? All right, did you see that? That was me. So it feels really awesome. They're probably a little confused, but they're relishing their victory for now.
That was amazing. Wow, I hope you saw that. That's what you were supposed to do.
You see it just bows its little head like, "Aw."
You have to get you a sword, I guess. Usually use you for raking.
You see in a puff of magic, Lux appears in the kitchen, like yawning and kind of like scratching her head, like, what's all that commotion? What do you kids? I let you kids stay in my very comfy cottage on the very comfy ground. What are you doing?
I made you some tea. The cup that I drank from, where I mixed in the titanite.
Oh
yeah, I offer it to her.
Oh God, this is. Look, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't made this mistake before. I am assuming everything looks fine. She's like looking around. I don't see that much. Although she looks at Orion's face, just bleeding. From like these 3 kind of like whip marks across the face. We can fix that. But like the cottage itself is all like hasn't been touched. Nothing's broken because kind of made quick work of this thing. She goes, I'll do like a detect magic or something later to figure out what happened. But is everybody okay?
Yeah, more or less.
Keen.
Okay, I'm gonna. All right, what's your plan for today? She's like going through the closets looking for like a poultice or something, and like a wrap or a bandage or something, whatever, for Orion's face. And she's like gathering stuff to patch Orion up. But it's like, so what's your plan? Are you gonna you you could stick around maybe a little bit longer if you want to work some more on the spells, or honestly, I've got stuff to do, so maybe you make your way, sometime today. That would be great.
Okay, so should we finish our spells today? Can you help me with the electricity, or should we? Are we still guests here? Because I'm planning on staying for a while.
For a while. Oh, well,
Yeah, clear your calendar.
shit.
Old Cassis is gonna be.
I didn't realize what I. Oh yeah, I gotta give you back your Titanite before you go. She like grabs.
Oh, we already helped ourselves to a. Yeah, give us our Titanite back.
She goes, I could just take it. I could take it back whenever I want, and also you, just taking a piece of it is not gonna help you do the specific things you need it to do.
It seems like we usually just put it into things and then things go well. You seem to have a handle on how to use it correctly.
Things go well when you put it in things. Is that what happened this morning? Is things went well when you put it in something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I put it into a little machine and then it animates.
Yeah, it would. She like looks at your homunculus servant. It's like, and like grabs it out of, grabs it by the head, because it's like a little version of you. And she points to the chest where the Titanite is. She's like, "This is a polished sphere of Titanite. It is very well kept, and was purposely made to fit inside this thing." And she like, she probably like grabbed something off the ground that maybe like fell out of your pocket. She's like, "This is just a hunk. This is." You need powdered stuff to power your Archon. You need a specific like geometric configuration to use it as a palimpsest and all this stuff. Here, I'll work on that, and you all can stay while I do that. I didn't think this through. Go and work on the spells if you want. I'll help.
So it seems like you know a lot about this. So I was asking someone about this, and you said that Wildermind was like a tiny Titan. So would that mean that there's a much bigger sphere animating this? Ahumla?
She goes, well, your Steel Defender here is kind of doesn't need Titanite to run. You've kind of got that handled, and the Titanite would enhance it. Your Homunculus Servant, on the other hand, yes, that is powered by a piece of Titanite. But my understanding of it, and I don't know how the research has gone back at the settlement, but what I found is that Titanite is made from a like, how like almost like a piece of skin graft, or like maybe even a scab. It's part of Adhumla's body. It is like a little shaving off of it. We have our skin kind of like flakes off and stuff, and dead skin cells and whatever.
So you know about the settlement?
Oh yeah, I was there. It came out. I mean, like I didn't. Of course, I know the settlement. You guys make so much noise, and it's always a commotion.
Well, why don't you come back with us to the settlement? You know a lot of stuff. You could help. We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I tried. They don't like really big ideas. They're still scared of like doing the Cataclysm again, which is like very not in the realm of possibility. But
well, I'm not scared of big ideas. What's one of the big ideas? I guess.
Just tell you one of my ideas. You're gonna want to steal my ideas, little guy. You little guy.
Yeah, how could I steal it? I'm just a little guy.
She pinches your cheek and goes, "Look, I'm not coming back, but I do like the brain on you. I like the brain on this one." Points at Sun. You're all right, I guess. Points at Orion. You're interesting. That's what you are. You're a little too fearful for my taste, but you do have an interest. Okay. You know what? My brain is doing things now, And you know what? This is good. I like you. You're right. You've convinced me by stating some stuff that makes sense when put in a particular way. That's magic, baby. That's basics
That's
of
the
magic
magic.
anyway. So, okay. Look, so one of my ideas, the spell that got us intermixed in the first place was me being able to like pull Titanite out of a certain radius and just kind of all lumping it all together. It's a sort of like a more efficient way of mining it from the skin of Athumla. Problem is, it's not as doesn't have as much finesse as a quote unquote civilization would like in order to quote unquote function right. So I came out here and because like clearly it just takes it, so it kind of like steals Titanite from things that need it. But when you're out here, you can just take it. I didn't know y'all. I didn't know anybody was coming through. So I think there's a lot more discoveries to be made, and I don't know what you're doing out here. And frankly, it's none of my business. But there's a lot of cool shit to find. Lots of like hidden stuff. Lots of there's rumors about the Archwarlock's things being left behind.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah, there's like some people say there's just like a huge dungeon right underneath the skin of Athumla that's just all the Archwarlock's stuff that they left behind.
I think we may have uncovered it accidentally like 3 days ago.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So the guy over there, Monkey, he he ran away from me the second he burst into existence. Not a fan of existence. Understandable. Big mood from so had to climb up overlook of the settlement. My friends were with me. I couldn't make out exactly how it happened, but they were on top of a humongous piece of titanite, and that's where they got the sword. And at the bottom of it, there seemed to be a hatch being covered up by it. But I don't know how to I don't know how to move that much titanite. And I don't know that anyone in our area does. So if you're looking for new things, this might be the place for you. And we have all kinds of new herbs that we've been growing too. And you can try new food other than gestures generally.
Food is fine. That big ass hunk of titanite, you've got my attention. Okay. But what are you all doing out here if that's back there?
So I think we were out here to find extra titanite.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of extra stuff just hanging out. You didn't have to, there's like, I think there's people at the settlement who can just like do that for you. What are you looking for? Like, why they send 4 kids out here and their robot pals to just like explore the wilds? Like, that seems sort of dangerous. Not that I don't care really, but
Sure you don't.
Just seems like a bad. Like you're grounded. Did they exile you? Were you bad? Are you grounded?
Kind of. I don't think so.
Son, where's the sword right now?
I feel like Sun always has the sword like on their person. Like I feel like it's like in their belt or something like that right now. And Sun's kind of like trying to remember why they were out here to begin with. They like kind of nudge Orion. It's like, didn't we see something in some book somewhere?
Yes.
Some library.
We went to a library. We read a book. Said, go to the wilds. Get more titanite. Build it bigger. No.
Well, there was that.
Yes.
There was a diagram in the book.
Yes.
It's been
the diagram
like
in the
2 months
book.
since we played, so
Yeah.
There was the door that you saw in the book
Yep.
that matched the text on the sword, and you were trying to figure out how it was going on with the sword.
Right.
So we were on our way to find the door, and then we got lost in the wilds. And now here we are, Still looking for that door.
Okay. I want to help you find that door. I also want to look at that hatch. So, she goes, all right, let's finish up here. Let's get your spells done. I'll give you the Titanite back so that you can finish the expedition. On your way back, you come find me, and I will go. You will take me to where that hatch is, and we'll see what's under there. But let's finish this up for now. And she sort of like starts gathering even more stuff, more tools, starts to clear the areas. She goes and like sets up more. She gets more books, sets up more work areas, and is going to help you all with your with this directly. So you'll roll these Arcana checks with advantage today, and she's going to try to get you out of here as fast as possible so that you can go do whatever it is you need to do, because that hatch is what she wants. She wants that hatch. So both of you give me an Arcana roll with advantage. This will be for the morning. Robbie, give me an Arcana roll with advantage. Lux is going to help you all with this directly today so that you can be on your way faster, and she can,
Great.
And she can get to that hatch. So this will be for the first sort of like 9 through 12, we'll call it, of the day.
How do we add advantage again?
You just roll twice and you take the higher one.
Oh, right. Okay.
I got
21.
21.
21.
We each got 21.
So romantic.
I know.
I got 17.
17. So Robbie and Brooke, you can mark one more success.
Sweet.
So that's 2 for each of you, I believe.
Yes.
And maybe a half for someone.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Sun.
2.5.
So you've got 2.5. Sun, you've got 2 halves, right? Now? Because you got a 17 this time?
Yes.
So that's 1 success for you total. Now,
Okay.
now you've gotten 1 success. You're all working the morning away, studying, doing all this stuff. We kind of, we're going to speed this up a little bit because you kind of described how you're working on these spells. Next, for the 12 to 3 portion of the day, give me another Arcana roll at advantage.
Okey-dokey.
Ooh. Okay. 23.
23.
18.
18.
14.
14. Okay, Cassis, you get another success. Orion, you get a half success. Sun, you don't make any progress in that block. So, Robbie, you have 3.5. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have 2.5.
2.5. This will be for 3 to 6. Give me another one. Y'all are working through the full day. She's like, Lux is not letting you like rest. She's pushing because she's so excited about this other discovery.
Good. 23.
23. Allie,
12.
12.
I got a 19.
19. So that'll be another half for Sun. Robbie, you're at 4.5, right?
Yes.
So this will be 6 to 9. This 3-hour period.
Tired.
I got a 15.
15. That's
13.
13.
18.
Okay. Robbie and Sun, you get a half. So it's starting to get, later in the day. That was the 6 to 9, right? So that is it's already getting dark again. Everybody give me just a Constitution saving throw for this will be a very easy one, but you were working pretty darn hard.
Ooh, I got a nat 1.
Ooh, 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
12 plus 4. I got
Just a-
16.
16.
Beef boy.
So, Cassis and Sun, you're pushing through the day. You're doing fine. I think Orion, this sort of like usually you're used to this sort of like heavy academic pushing, but this is so like outside the realm of the type of work that you usually do. It's usually like studying stuff that has come before you and just trying to memorize a lot of this stuff to be able to learn about the history of magic and how to do magic. This is like I think this is like new creative territory for you, and the way you're like working with like acid a lot too, which is like not super easy. I think you probably start to feel sick. Maybe you're like kind of getting some of these after effects. So you have one level of exhaustion, and what that means is this will clear on a long rest. But if you stack multiple ones, there's like different effects that it has. For now, it means you have disadvantage on ability checks, which is bad for making spells, but that's sort of the way it is right now. If you want to go to sleep early to get a head start on clearing that, you can. You can also stay up to give it one more shot for the 9 to 12 block, but that's really up to you in character or whatever.
Yeah.
So Lux is actually, I'm going to say it's not up to you because Lux is not going to let you go to sleep. You're going to be very tired right now. Lux is just going to make everyone work until the midnight hour. So give me one more roll. Brooke, since you are at disadvantage, and Lux is giving you the help action, so it'll be just a flat roll.
Okay, gotcha. So I got 13.
13.
I got a 9.
9. Did you roll at advantage, son?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have advantage?
Yes.
Still? Okay. 18.
18. So that's another half for Cassis. So what's Cassis at total?
5.5.
5.5. It's pretty close. Lux says, all right, Orion, I pushed you too hard. Hit the showers. Go to sleep. This is fine. You have an interesting enough connection. You've kind of already done more than enough. I'll give you. You'll be taken care of. I got your stuff. Son, you're doing great, honey. Also, I mean, Paladins not really known for their book smarts. Totally fine. You're doing great. Thank you for your help earlier with Orion's spell. I appreciate it. You can go to sleep too. He looks over at Cassis and goes, "We can push it if you want." So close.
Why are you tired?
It's just like construct like, oh, just
Monkey, you're not tired.
just lightning crackling around Wog. Just like you're just juicing him up like the whole time, the whole day. It's just like endless electricity. Like,
yeah, one more time then.
all right. So this will be for the 12 to 3. The rest of you will go to sleep. Yeah, Cassis, give me that with advantage.
Natty 20. So many rolls that had to happen.
Natty
26.
26. I'm gonna say I think I have it in the rules somewhere that I wrote down that counts for more. You also had. Have you had 3 in a row successes now at this point?
Well, if you count the half successes.
Okay, no, then. But a nat 20 that counts for 2. So you
That's 7.5.
7.5. So you charge for the rest of the night. Lux is helping you with this shocking magic, this electricity, and like right as it gets to like it's like 2:48 in the morning. You're like, how do I? All right, you're just like in this freaking like beautiful mind sphere of like looking through arcana and math and engineering, and like just the last bit of it clicks, and you go to like attempt this spell on Wa, and you like summon this magic. You like have this whatever device that you've sort of like pulled together, stuck it into Wa, and at this last moment, sort of you see this lingering cloak of electricity sitting over Wa's steel carapace, and Lux goes, "Whoo! There we go! You did it!
It's beautiful. I have to
Don't touch it. And electricity like discharges and hits you. And Lux goes, okay, that was a good one. You go to sleep. I'll get all the Titanite ready. And you'll just have to help your friends with the rest of it.
That's what I'll do. I'll be helping people tomorrow. I must slumber.
Sleep time. And
I'm just a little guy.
you're just a little guy as she pinches your cheek, very just like actually very proud, which is like not an emotion you've seen from her yet, but just being like very impressed with you as an arcanist, kind of really like not just as not just as an artificer, but like as a crafter of spells itself, of working with magic itself. She sort of like teleports away into her room, and I think as you all drift off to sleep, there's sort of this. I don't want to tell you how you feel, but like the world is starting to open up even more for you young kids, and the fact that all these mysteries are like even closer to being solved, right? Lux has a spell to gather Titanite to herself, maybe enough to clear a way to get into that hatch back near the settlement. Also, the door that there's someone here who knows how to navigate the raw magic wilds, is very competent, lives out here, and so there's like literally doors opening for you all. We'll do one more round of like, how does everybody feel, and that's where we'll sort of leave the session for today. I think we'll start with Cassis, since we kind of just had Cassis in the limelight. How is Cassis feeling as he drifts off to sleep?
Just ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
All of the all the different things that all the different modifications are kind of coming together, and just thinking about the upgrades and just how he's going to get the chance to help his friends now, because now feels like a big shot, because he's kind of completed. So like, yeah, I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to get everyone through this really quick and easy, and we're gonna get home, or we're gonna just, and then basically like feeling good about convincing this person to kind of aid us is not something that he's been accustomed to. It's just kind of, it feels good because the number of friends that Cassis has made is it's very small. Just like him, just very small group of people that he trusts, and he feels like he wants to be attached to this new person, which is very exciting for him, because he just doesn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah, Cassis is not we have two charisma based, like Orion is cast magic now using charisma. Sun is sort of a half charisma character as well. Cassis is not the face, is not the social, that's not his strength, but he's actually the one who kind of convinced this very powerful person to help the group. So that's like a really cool thing. Like just through sheer force of intellect. How is Sun feeling?
I think Sun is pretty tired after like a full day of like going at it. I feel like Sun is maybe still kind of frustrated, like they thought that they would be progressing a lot faster, or just doing a lot better. But at the same time, they feel pretty tired. They're like, well, I did my best today. So they're probably drifting off pretty quickly. They're probably just physically very tired.
Yeah, for sure. And Orion, you sort of had a bit of a rougher day today. How are they feeling? Do you have a level of exhaustion? If you're able to sleep through the night, you'll be able to clear it. But it is sort of like a very, like, you can feel it in your body for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a tough day, but definitely probably slept well. This isn't the first tough day with magic and things that Orion has had, so
Right.
not like super down. More academically frustrated, but still hopeful that, hey, had a couple good tries, and we'll get there.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you go to sleep, I think you all feel pretty satisfied with it. There is sort of that lingering memory of Stinky and that sort of encounter. It's either you're getting used to it, or it's just like sort of one of those things like this is how it is, and we're just or sort of that like childlike bravado of like, or like the teen bravado of like, yeah, we fucking kicked his ass, it was fine. And yeah, and you all drift off to sleep, and that's where we'll end today's session. Days of hard work and not Arkansas, Arcana. And yeah, thank you all so much for all of you who came out and stuck around. This episode, I'm gonna try to upload episode 2 as well to YouTube. I've been slacking on that. We'll get episode 3 up, and we're gonna try to get back on track for the first weekend of each month. So hopefully episode 4 will be playing in early October. And yeah, thank you all so much. We're gonna dip out. Anybody else, if you have anything to say, you can say it. And if not, we'll just end the stream.
Thanks for a good game.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. So like, yeah, the comments, it was fun seeing everyone.
Yeah. Thanks,
Hi.
Ankh. Ankh in the chat is going to be running a game of Demon the Fallen for me, H, and some other people. So, keep an eye out on that at the Meta Initiative channel. That'll be coming out soon. We will catch you all next time. Bye.
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 Filmed before a live studio audience.